Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Wealth of Patience. Today I have my beloved father joining me who has had extensive experience in working in the corporate world, and I'm super excited to have him on. Give it up for my father!
Hello, how are you? Okay?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
Are you excited?
Yes, I am excited for being on the platform of Wealth of Patience. I believe strongly in the Wealth of Patience platform and the initiative which you have taken. I appreciate the fact that you have this vision of helping people from 18 to 24 years of age, and the fact that you want to give it back to the human mankind and the people who are not that who do not have access to all the resources and who do not have the basics of finance, economics and all, and whatever best you can in your capabilities you're giving back. So I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on your platform.
No, we're super excited to have you. To start it off, for people who don't know, what position are you or what have you worked as in the corporate world?
So right now I'm working as senior corporate controller, and I started my position as a controller with Siemens for more than 10 years, 10 and a half years to be precise. I have traveled to more than 27 countries, 28 countries by now, and I've worked in 5 different countries. I've worked in South Africa, Cape Town, I've worked in Singapore, and before that I was in Germany for some time, and I've also worked in China. So I have experience of working in different places, and UAE, of course, I don't know whether I said that. So apart from working in different countries and all, so I've worked as controller, I've worked as vice president finance, I was CFO too, and I have more than 3 decades of experience working with Fortune 500 companies, multinational companies, different cultures, different people. Yeah, but all my companies were big companies, like $1 billion plus companies. Right now, the company I'm working for is a $55 billion company, and it's one of the leading companies in the world.
That's amazing to hear. So this podcast is called Wealth of Patience, and you said that you have 3 decades of experience. What is one piece of advice you'd say to commerce students such as myself, who's in their 2nd, 3rd year, who are going for internships for companies such as AV Group, or who are going for internships at corporations, who are trying to get to your level, like 20 years, 30 years in the future? What is something you would say to them?
Yeah, I would say like Wealth of Patience. I'm just taking that word from your caption. Consistent, hard work, keep honing your skills, sharpening your skills. That's important. And if you're from finance or business background, then go more into IT world. If you're from IT background, if you're doing major in IT, then go into finance. Because finance and IT are merging from technical perspective, so that's important. Do what you're passionate about. That's very important. See, one has to understand, if you're in Canada, especially if you're doing undergrad, grad, from Canada, nobody will have any shortage of job, because the corporate world really need people, and we have an acute shortage of people. Like, we are literally dying. Like today, if you give me any graduate for free, I have so many positions open here in New Brunswick. Like I can employ all the people. Like, even if you give me 100 people, fresh graduates, I can employ all of them. Like, we need people. So getting job is not a difficult task. It's like you should be very clear on what you are looking for in life, and be consistent with your field. Like, don't keep shifting. Like, I know somebody who spends a lot of money on interior, like fashion designing or something, and becomes her, and then after 2-3 years, she wasted all the money, and then she went into another line. Don't do that. Be clear on what you're looking out for. Does that answer your question?
No, it definitely answers your question. For students, especially like for us who are 19, 20 years old, and for students, like a lot of my friends are not entirely sure what field they're into. Like they know, for example, they're into business or corporate because they're doing a commerce degree, but they're not entirely sure whether it's marketing or finance or HR or anything like that. Or in finance, there's so many different accounting. There's so many different specialities. So how would you say like someone can find their niche or find their passion in business or in corporate, especially if you don't know where that is as a 19, 20-year-old?
Yeah, it's a good question as well as a difficult question. So, I mean, it's really difficult because, see now, like you said, there are so many fields. So, like, you know, if it is very broadly speaking, in corporate world, there are two different streams. One is finance, one is accounting. Again, they are very different. Accounting is more into accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger, bookkeeping, you know, those type of thing. And then finance is more into the banking side, treasury management, and you know, bill discounting and stuff like that. So that's more into the treasury management and those stuff, right? And then you have financial reporting. That's another stream. That's more into, you know, where you're reporting the numbers, you're finalizing the balance sheet, you're helping with the MD&A is management disclosures for the annual report. So that's another stream. So, and then you have internal audit, you have management audit. So you know, these are different streams. Now, I mean, if you're going into the corporate sector, if your objective is to join any corporate, then accounting is definitely an easy. Again, now see, it depends. If you are pursuing your CPA, like you know, if somebody is doing CPA and has joined Schulich, for example, you know, they have joined Schulich with the objective of pursuing CPA. Then it makes sense, you know, complete your CPA, and then you can go into practice, or you can go into corporate world. And if you go into corporate world, it will be mainly, you know, you'll be finance manager, or eventually, like not from day one, but eventually you'll become finance manager, controller, vice president, and CFO, and all that stuff. But if you do not pursue CPA, and if you want to do a 9 to 5 job in the corporate world, it's not that it's impossible, but chances are very bleak, or you will take a longer time to reach a controller or CFO position without the qualification, because it becomes difficult. Because what happens is, if you don't have a professional degree and if you want to go up the ladder, I mean, you will go to a certain point, and then there is a possibility that you might get stagnated. So while it's not necessary that a CFO has to have a CPA, it's not mandatory by law, but sometimes you have, I mean, so what happens is, at this young age, you know, when you start the corporate world, like say after your graduation or whatever, when you start your what experience you have, what exposure you have, would definitely determine what you're going to do in future. And I'll give you an example. When I completed my CA, Chartered Accountancy from India, and then I started with Siemens. Siemens was my first job, and that really helped me, because that was a big, you know, kick-off for me. I had a good head start, and that helped me, like, you know, getting my second job, third job. Like, you know, back then I was earning 5.2 million rupees in India. Like, I'm talking about in 2006 and all that stuff. Like, you know, I'm dating myself, 16 years back. So that was big money. Imagine 100,000, 5.2 million was like $100,000 of Canadian, which is a big money 16 years back. So yeah, so that's really big money. And that you have to keep in mind. $100,000 here is different from there, because the cost of living is low. So, I mean, I really got a good head start. Like, I was earning such a big money there. I was India CFO back then. So yeah, does that?
It definitely does.
Yeah.
Just to elaborate on that, another thing, you talked about how 5.2 million rupees or $100,000.
Yeah.
A lot of times my worry is, and I've talked about this a lot of times with friends and people around me have this worry too. Is this true that the higher up you go, or the more your income level or your position title is, the more the stress is on your mental health, your physical health, all the other aspects? Like, do you think there is a direct correlation, or it completely depends on the individual itself?
Yeah, no, the awesome question. Yeah. See, now if you would have asked me this question, say 20 years back, I would have said maybe it's directly proportional. Not maybe, I would have said it is directly proportional because at that point, like back then,
Yeah.
I used to feel stressed. I was so stressful, like sometimes, and I feel little embarrassed to say this, but I'll still say that like I used to feel like, man, I'm not feeling well. I'm fractured, or like or I want to quit. Like so many times, it came to my mind that I want to quit Siemens and stuff like that because I used to feel so pressurized. I was the youngest controller back then. Like all my other counterparts controller for the same position were like 40 plus and all. I was like 25, 26, and I became a controller. So at a very young age, I got very senior position, and it was too stressful for me. I found it very difficult to manage that initially. Okay, and I used to feel like quitting. I remember back then, when Y2K, I don't know whether you know Y2K. Y2K is year 2000. So when in the IT world, from 1999 to 2000, they didn't know what to do. The computers got failed. Now when you look back, it looks so funny and amazing. But back then, like all of a sudden, the world came to an end. Like they didn't know how to now adjust. Like the computers could not adjust from 1999 to 2008, change. So, and then we had a dot-com era. Like all of a sudden, the internet came and dot-com came. There was like everything was dot-com. So I felt like going into the IT world. And also when we implemented SAP, I've done 5 ERP implementations and all. Again, that gave me a lot of excitement to go into the ERP world, which was more into IT side. So, but I'm happy I stuck to my core competence finance side. But come back to your question now. So it depends on individual, but it takes a time. It takes a while. Now, what happens is once you get used to it, like for me, for example, now when I look back at 3 decades of experience, for me, I find it easier to handle senior positions. Like for me, CFO is much easier position than vice president, and vice president is easier than senior corporate controller, and senior corporate controller is easier than clerk, and clerk is better than something below that. So all I'm trying to say is, as you go higher up, you don't have to do technical work. You don't have to do. So there is on and in thing. In is basically the actual doing part, and on is basically the strategic part. So when you are at the root level, like frontline worker, I call it. So there are 4 levels. So first level is the clerical part of the frontline worker part. There you have to do 10% of thinking and 90% of actuals, the work. And you don't want too much of thinking there because they have to do what is being told to them. Next level I would say is MLM, like medium level management or medium level workers, like supervisors, those level things. There I would argue 30%, 70%. 30% thinking, 70% doing. Now, the interesting part comes after that. So, the next level is senior SLM, like senior management, where I am right now, I would say. And where I would say one should do 60% of thinking or 70% of thinking and 30-40% of your work. Okay. And the best part is C-suite. C-suite is CFO, CEO, CXOs, COOs, like the full forms, chief financial officers and all that stuff. Like the cream of cream, board director members and all. And I was there once upon a time. And there I would say, ideally you should do 99% of thinking. Ideally. Even I could achieve that. I was say 90% or I was 85%, So I was trying to be there, but that at that level you should be more of a strategic thinker, like a visionary thinker. You should be working on the purpose, mission statement, vision statement. Whether the vision statement is practical, doable, and is everybody lying with your vision statement? Does everybody know? Does everybody carry the vision statement of the company in the pocket and all that stuff? That's something different. I'm going a bit tangent, but so that's how it works, So coming back to your question, so as you grow higher up, you don't have to do actual part. You have to do more of the thinking part. You have to see future. It's not stressful. but it takes a while to get there and to get to that pattern. And most of the junior people, like I know so many of my staff in the past and even now, like I have one employee even currently, he's been with the company for 12 years plus, and I've given him so many umpteen chances to be like a next level, like a supervisor or like a medium, like reporting to me, but one level up, and he'll have somebody reporting to him, but he doesn't want to be. He wants to be one man army. He was one man army 12 years back when he joined the company, and even today he's one man army. And he's very happy there. And there's nothing wrong in that, because even these people you need, because they're strong pillars of the company. So there's nothing wrong in that. You need strong pillars also. So, but some people really don't have aspiration, and also they feel it's headache. And yeah, now this is an interesting one, and this will answer your question also. If you ask him why don't you want to be a foreman or supervisor or manager or manage people, he's saying I find it headache. Like I find it difficult to have a difficult conversation. I find it difficult to delegate to someone. I find it difficult to assign some task to someone, to get the work done for someone. He finds it so stressful. So, and I understand that and respect that. So, but once you start doing that, you will actually enjoy, because then you can do more of strategic thinking. Because as Peter Abdaka says, manager is art of getting things done from people, So once you get that art of getting done from people, by the people, and lead people, you will be able to get more things done. And this is applicable not only for a corporate job, but even for business. If you're doing MLM, as you know, multi-level marketing, or if you're in real estate agent, if you have more agents below you, or if you're in a business and if you have more workers under you, the more people you have, the more productive hands you will have. You can do better things. So you can outsource those things, and you can have something else for you, some creative part. So
I was gonna say one thing about what you said. Like you mentioned the example of the person who didn't want to go to the next level, was okay because of that.
Right.
Would you say like being a leader or being a manager is more so of a learned trait, or do you think it's also your inherent personality? Like, do you think if you gave him training, or if he could learn to be a manager, or do you think it's something that's either you are or you are not, which is established at a very young age?
Yeah, no, I think there's a saying also on that, born leaders. So I think it's both. I think even at a young age, it's all depend on the upbringing. So if suppose like if I think about you, right from childhood, I used to tell you, you are world number one, you are world number one. You had a lot of leadership opportunities. You were the school monitor, you were a school prefect, and all this stuff. So yes, I mean for sure, it definitely makes a difference. Like your upbringing, your schooling, people around you, and the mindset which you are born with, for sure makes a difference. Because it's all about the same thing. Like if you are leading in school, if you are leading in your college, university, and then you will be leading the company, for sure. I mean that makes a difference. At the same time, if suppose somebody has done a parenting with saying like you are gone case, you are an idiot, like you are good for nothing. That person can become a leader by teaching and education, but it's quite tough for that person because his upbringing has not been that great, So I think subconsciously it does make a difference for sure, but training definitely helps. For me, of course, my exposure with Siemens, first company, and my working in Germany, and then my IIM Bangalore, sponsorship by my Siemens, working, doing my MBA there. All these things attributed to becoming a leader.
Is there anything else you would like to talk about, or anything else? Any other specific things you would like to talk about? From imagining like an 18-20-year-old person who wants to be in that position.
Yeah, I think some few things that come to my mind.
It could be technical, it could be like mindset, or it could be like technical, like in your job, do this or do that.
No, I would say for youngsters is be focused. Um, Stick to your core competence. Don't divert yourself too much, and as much as possible. So suppose, let me elaborate that with your example. So suppose if you are an accountant, then see if you can get some book. If you want extra income apart from a full-time job, if you want to do part-time job or summer-time job, then see if you can get something to do with accounting, bookkeeping, rather than working at Tim Hortons or McDonald's. There's nothing wrong working at there. I mean, absolutely, with due respect. Every job is important and good. But if you're in accounting, stick to accounting. And if you're in MATI, if you're working there, then it's okay if you work in, say, a bar, then you're in the service industry, then you're in the food service industry. Then you can work at MATI selling coffees, and then in the evening you can go to bar and sell alcohol or whatever, serve food or whatever is required. So you're in the service industry, you know exactly how service industry works. Then you're becoming a master there. Then eventually you can become like a manager in this service industry. You can become a manager for a hotel, a fast food restaurant, supervisor or whatever, and then eventually you can have one of the stores also, one of the restaurants, because you're sticking to that core competence, of that service. So be clear about what you're looking for, in life. So and stick to your core competence, and also enhance your skills. So if you are going into banking and restaurant, that bar business, then see if you can go a hotel management course apart from your graduate. And if you've done hotel management, see if you can do MBA, for example, if you can enhance your skills. And same thing with accounting. If you're pursuing this, then you can see whether you can do some IT course apart from that ERP course or something. Now, one does listen to some people who say university is crap, education is crap, it's useless. I absolutely don't agree with that. I mean, I hate some influencers who say that. I hate that. I mean, they are misleading people. Strongly I feel that, because of course, education has helped me become a better person. It has helped me in my career. So I'm saying the substance, but not only that, any knowledge, any education, any formal education, it won't harm you. Now, it will cost you time and money. I get that for sure. But you know what? If suppose you don't do BCom, okay, and you will save that 4 years of yours, and say you do a minimum job or even $20 job, I would say for that age, if you're not doing something exceptional, then that would be the $20 an hour would be a normal average. Do you agree with me on that? Or
if you're not doing exceptional.
After grade 12, right, give or take.
Probably less.
Even less.
Like a high school graduate though.
Like $15. Okay, 15 would be a fair number. So $15. So 2,000 hours if you do, that would be $30,000. So 30,000 times 4 would be 120. Now one can argue 150, 160. Even if you work very hard, $200,000. I mean,
in a year?
In 4 years.
Oh, okay.
In a 4 years span. Imagine you are not doing BCom and 4 years you are working in, say, Tim Hortons or McDonald's or one of those service industries and all. So over a period of time, you would make 200,000 there. And suppose you have sent fees. How much would be 4 years fees in some uni?
If you're from here, then like 10,000. For 4 years, 40,000.
40. So you would save that 40,000 and you would earn 200,000. So give or take 240,000 would be a combined income. You know what I mean? So you'll be richer by 240,000 over a period of 4 years. And that means a lot of money, man. 240,000 is really big money. And if you compound it, like if you invest 240,000 shares and if you compound it, that's a lot of money. You can become a millionaire in, say, next 10 years or 15 years from there. But you know what? It does not work like that. It's not as simple as the way I am calculating. So first of all, whether you will get 240,000 pool after 4 years is a question mark. And even if you get a pool of 240,000 with this example which I gave, if you don't pursue studies and if you do some minimum job or something, problem is you will be stuck at that 200,000 for the rest of your life. I mean, minimum wages will increase. That $12 will become 30, 13 will become 14 and 15.
But for the rest of your life, you will be hung around that minimum wage levels only. And that's not the life you want to live. It's not about all about the money. Like, a smuggler can earn money, a prostitute can earn money. There are so many illegal things, drug people can earn money, gang guys earn money, and there are so many other ways and means, you can earn money. Earning money is not important. It's the quality of life, the dignity, the whole package which you want to enjoy. Like in my case, for example, my wife is a doctor. I've got such a lovely kids. Like both you and your sisters, like are such so good human being, I would say. I mean, and well cultured, and well developed. So it's about the happiness, satisfaction, gratitude. That's what you're looking for, and that comes with education. With doing something good, something big, and you want to leave a legacy. Legacy may not be necessarily like earlier. I used to think of leaving a legacy of $100 million. Now I don't think about $100 million, but I want to think that I'm leaving a legacy of this planet. Like I should leave my mark. Like I should contribute to the society. I should contribute to the world. If you don't consistently, how would you contribute? You can still contribute, but the probability is very less. 1 out of 10,000 would be able to do that. But here, say 500 out of 10,000 would do, or 1,000 out of 10,000 would be able to do. You see where the difference is coming from. So yeah.
No, that definitely makes sense. I would also like to say, do you think in a society where everything, all education that we're learning through school, you can pretty much find online, do you think that makes a difference where you can get the education that you need through online, like free courses or YouTube or whatever, and you can still get that knowledge, or do you think going to an actual university is a different experience?
Yeah, no, good question. Yeah. Short answer, yes, you can get. You have Khan Academy and many other courses and many other stuff you can get for sure. No argument about that. That's a short answer. But you know what? It's not just about that debit and credit, like assets equal to liabilities plus earnings or whatever we call equity. A is equal to L plus E is something. Yeah. So it's not that once you understand that A equal to L plus E, you have done your BCom or you have done your accounting. That's what they argue about or they laugh around. It's not that simple. So what happens is when you go to a university, you meet people. And uni is not about that book, that accounting book. It's about interaction with the professor. It's the interaction with the students around you. It's like how you're living in dorm or whatever, boys or
seven guys.
So day in and day out you're interacting, like how you have that bonfire thing. It's all about that. It's university is much more than just learning that asset is equal to liabilities or just that book thing or just writing an exam. That's just a part of it. It's the entire experience. You learn maximum when you interact with people. If you are in a silo world, like suppose you'll go into depression if you're by yourself. If you're just working, suppose you have a day job in Tim Hortons and then you're going in the bar, working in the evening there, and then you come home. After 4 years, you'll have 240,000. You will have that same knowledge also by online and all this stuff. But you won't have that experiences. You won't have that polish. You won't have that difference. And that difference you come to know. You find so many rich people around you, and especially with a young age, and who do not have that polish, who do not have that, when they open their mouth, you come to know that, man, it's not fun to talk to. At the same time, you talk to some people, they are so good, they are so good in their logic, in their thinking, because they are able to correlate, go back and forth with the past experiences, future, this, that. You are what you are based on how much you read, how much you write, how many people you interact with, and that's what makes you human being. Does that answer your question?
No, that's super helpful.
Right.
Thank you so much. Again, round of applause to you. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys soon with a longer episode with him on our Spotify podcast. Wealth of Patience. See you guys.